Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of World Talks here on TVP World, where every word matters. I'm host Benjamin Lee, and please join me and my guests on this exclusive interview. Now, in recent developments within Polish politics, President Andrzej Duda has approved Piotr Serfin as Poland's candidate for EU Commissioner following Prime Minister Donald Tusk's proposal. This decision comes amid tensions between the government and the president over the interpretation of Poland's EU involvement laws. Meanwhile, Duda has also vetoed a bill that would have disbanded a commission investigating Russian influence on Poland's security, a move that has sparked significant debate. Joining us today on TVP World to discuss these unfolding events is Marcin Zaborowski, Policy Director, Future of Security Program of GlobeSec. Hello, sir, and welcome to TVP World.
Yes, good morning to everyone. Good morning to you.
So let's first focus on this appointment. What's the implication of or approval of Piotr Serfin as Poland's candidate for the EU Commissioner? Does that have any particular kind of effect on this part of the world, or do you think it's more of a signifying kind of, well, the president and the prime minister seeing at least eye to eye on some topics?
I think it's really one of these appointments which is not politically particularly consequential. Mr. Serafin is a career diplomat. He is not a politician. He is not representing a political party. He has worked for a number of years with Donald Tusk. So that would suggest that yes, as long as the appointment is being is non-political, even if it's related by experience to the current government, when President Duda is thinking about and is approving that kind of appointment without making much of a fuss. But it's not a breakthrough. It's not really ending this tug of war between the government and the president when it comes to ambassadorial appointments, because again, this is a career diplomat appointment and it's non-political.
Right, so that brings us to that discussion of the tug-of-war between the president and the prime minister. As we've seen recently, even though this appointment was approved, we also saw the veto of this other bill that would kind of revamp the system when it comes to countering Russia influence. Can you help us break that down, and why has it been so controversial?
Well, the law on investigating the Russian influence in the parliament and the public sphere was being proposed 2 or 3 months before the election, which were lost by the party which was proposing this law. And the law was widely seen as being instrumental in trying to block Donald Tusk, who in the past led negotiations or talks with Vladimir Putin in 2008 and 2009, and who was also overseeing the so-called reset policy when everybody in the Western world was trying to reset with Russia following the election of Barack Obama in 2008. So the reset was was seen as being a mistake by Law and Justice Party, not only by mistake but also as a treason, and therefore appointing this commission and proposing this commission, which was approved by President Duda, was seen as basically an instrumental in trying to prevent Donald Tusk and the others in running for the office.
All right, so the timing is very sensitive, right? Like a commission is established and one of the biggest political candidates was under the microscope, under said commission. So it's not hard to imagine why they want to do away with that. But in the meantime, they also, well, try to establish a new commission. So do you think the difference between the two commissions is more in substance, or is it more symbolic?
I think it's largely it's intensely political at this point in time. The real differences are really not so great. you know, what Law and Justice was trying to establish was the system in which that it would be very difficult to appeal against the decision of just simply a political committee which was in charge of making allegations. And that was something that even President Duda didn't like, and blocked these aspects of the proposal. What the current government is proposing is to have a commission which would be run by non-political appointees, and which would really truly investigate the cases of limited to treason, rather than trying to block political opponents from being active in politics.
So there is still a little bit of substantial difference. But when it comes to these two commissions, of course, one of the biggest criticism for the previous one that they are hoping to scrap is the use of it, well, the possibility of using it as a political tool to bar opposition from getting into power. Do you think that the new commission established by the new government will somehow be able to rid it of political influence?
Well, that's the intention, but I think, frankly, that the whole talk about the commission at this point in time is so politically complicated and also poisoned, really, that the details of that may just escape the public opinion, and people may just simply react by saying, the former government wanted the commission to use it against the political opponents. The current one is trying to do the same. So I'm not sure that the details of that would be really registered with the public opinion.
Right, so we'll have to see how that develops. Meanwhile, on the other front, I would like to turn our attention to another topic in Polish domestic policy, being the relaxation of limitation when it comes to using firearms at the border. Now, this has also caused a point of contention. Can you help us unwrap what are some of the changes and where's the kind of debate and controversy coming from?
Well, there are two things here. Number one, it was the basically the use of the armed forces at the border, and which resulted in a death of a Polish soldier which was stabbed by illegal migrant who was clearly trained and equipped to cause harm. So here the perception is that things like that shouldn't be happening, and the armed forces should have a clear terms of engagement to defend themselves against these kind of attacks, which they didn't have prior to that incident, to this tragic accident happening. And the other element is also the use of excessive use of actually firearms by troops, which also didn't have clear terms of engagement and were running around the border and were using firearms and potentially causing harm to other troops on the Polish side. And that resulted in the arrest of 2 or 3 soldiers. I'm not sure at this point in time. The point is that basically there has been no clarity there. And now the armed forces need to know when they can use the arms, that they shouldn't use it excessively at the same time, and they should use it in a manner which shouldn't be harmful to their colleagues and to other troops being engaged in the field.
Right, I think clarity is a key here. Those boys at the border find it very hard sometimes to carry out their jobs if they don't know where the line is being drawn. But at the same time, when this is happening in the background, NGOs and human rights organizations have expressed concern over this new firearm law. So do you think that these concerns are valid, and how do you think that would impact Poland's international standing?
Well, I think that human rights organization activists are doing their job. They're doing it well, but they have very clear objective in that, which is to prevent the civilian population. And it's good that they're doing it, but at the same time, their job is not really to look after the nation's security and defense. That's not what the activists are truly concerned about, because it's not part of their job. This is the job for the armed forces, and the border guards especially, and the border guards need to know when they can use arms and have the ability to do that, especially when they are being attacked by trained illegal migrants, which have been shipped there and used as essentially immigration weapon against the Polish territory.
Right, like you mentioned, perhaps a lot of these human rights organizations do not have the focus on border security, but rather, of course, the humanitarian situation rightfully on their part. But do you think this will again become a vector of attack, as we see usually oppositional government, whoever is in charge, the opposition would try to take the side of kind of these humanitarian to kind of as a vector of attack? Do you think that would also cause some political rift or polarization?
Not in this particular case, because if anything, the current opposition, meaning the Law and Justice Party and the Confederation Party, they are basically saying that the use of arms should be more frequent. They build their image as the parties of security and defense, and also anti-immigration parties. So if anything, they are saying that the current government is too weak and too concerned about what the human rights organizations are saying. So we are rather talking about the internal division within the current government, maybe with the left, which is part of a governing coalition, with some voices that are saying, "Oh, well, we should be more concerned about the interests of migrants."
Okay. Last but not least, going back to our original topic here, we do still see a little bit of tug of war between the president, the prime minister, and as the situation involved, looking ahead, what's some of the key issues that we should be watching out for in Polish politics as kind of these tensions continue to evolve?
Well, indeed, I mean, the appointments when it comes to the key diplomatic appointments are essential here. It looks like that Poland will have a whole streak of ambassadors not recognized by the president or the heads of missions in capitals such as Washington, for example, where the former defense minister Bogdan Klich will be the acting ambassador, but without the confirmation from the president. So unfortunately, we will have a situation in which the power and significance of Polish diplomacy will be weakened by the tug of the war and by the objections from the president.
All right, thank you so much for helping us clarify that and understanding a lot of these pretty complicated topics. Really appreciate it, and thanks for being with us on TVP World.
Thank you very much.
And with that, we conclude this edition of World Talks. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.